Well, so it's Saturday. The Ranger just had a wash. And I did some garbage picking, but neither of these two items, 3 counting that, came from the garbage. Well, that did, but the mower and the tiller did not. The tiller, as you guys can see, has a price tag on it. I found it at a yard sale for 10 bucks. The mower I gave 20 bucks for. Now initially, I only picked this mower up for the motor. It's got a Honda GCV series 160 motor on it. And I assumed that the deck was actually in worse shape than it was. The bag is a little bit different of a story. The bag is torn up, so I might have to source a new bag for this one. Hopefully I can just buy the bag. Maybe that'll be a little bit cheaper, but in my experience, it's really kind of a crapshoot when you're dealing with bags. But this is a Craftsman Easy Walk. Needs a good cleaning, but there's the model number. And it's got fuel in it. Looks like they filled it up. But this thing actually works. And very surprisingly, this thing works. I'll set the camera down in a minute, show you guys how well this thing runs, but you know, it runs pretty good. I'm not really too sure if I'm going to pull the motor off of it or, you know, try and clean this thing up a bit and sell it as is. I mean, it's definitely a good mower if I can get it, you know, 100% working correctly. But this tiller, on the other hand, it's a little bit different. They told me that the lady's husband had rebuilt the motor at one point. They let it sit for a few years outside, and according to them, the motor seized up because of that. But I don't think this thing is seized. I think that we might just have a hydro locking issue. Not 100% about that, but it could very well be the case. Or it could be something back here that's locking up, but it's got oil in it. And just for the record, I'm going to pull the plug out. Well, that happened. Old plug. Get that plug out of here. I've got a bunch of these on hand, so I'm not really worried about that. So let's see what happens now. Still won't move. But overall, it seems like it's complete. It's got the plate back here. It's even got the guide bar on it. And there's the model number and serial for you. I haven't even dated this Briggs motor just yet. So this thing is a 1972. It's old. It's definitely old. But if I could get this motor working, hopefully, you know, that would be obviously be the cheapest way to go, but you know, this thing will definitely be due for a couple shots of aerosol spray paint, if you will, and you know, we might just be able to put this thing back together and restore it. But I don't know exactly what's going on with the motor. I'd have to, you know, tear into that some more. But I can say for certain, yeah, I'll have to pull that off and kind of go from there. I've got more pressing matters, though, to deal with. I also found this in the trash. I never have too many of these. And then this thing. I thought at first this thing was a server rack, and it could very well be that, but it looks more to be like a DVR system, for like a security system. And I say that, where is it? Because on the side here there's a business card for some sort of DVR company. But I don't know. I only picked this thing up just to get the hard drives out of it, because the hard drives that are in it are probably pretty decent sized, and I could use another hard drive or two for my desktop. So It's the only reason why I picked that up. So I'll let you guys know of any further developments. So the removal of 3 7/16 bolts later, the recoil came off. So let's have a look at the motor. I think the next step is to take the top of the head off and see what kind of shape the piston's in. Now if this was an overhead valve design, it would be much more likely that the issue was a valve that was stuck open and preventing the piston from doing what it needs to do. And let's see what kind of condition this rest of the motor's in. Valves are both open. And that's just the problem. It looks like the intake valve is not opening and closing. In order to sort this out, I'm actually going to have to remove the tank and the carb to get access to the valve guides. But yeah, it's a good thing I didn't try and start this. I would have been cranking and cranking forever. Inside of the cylinder wall looks good, at least from what I can tell. There is some weird deposits on this thing. But it's unfortunate. But if this isn't a simple fix, or if it's one that's going to cost too much money, you're kind of delving into Harbor Freight territory. I'll let you guys know the results of this. Well, I can already pretty much tell you guys that this thing is not worth saving, but in the interest of you guys and you guys wanting to see this type of shit, we'll go ahead and continue pulling it apart. Alright, so now the next step is we're just going to pull off this cover. Ooh. That's interesting. So everything down below is working as it should, except for the valve itself. For some reason it's stuck open. That thing just does not want to move. And now the exhaust push rod is screwing up. So, like I thought, this thing is too far gone. It isn't really worth putting much more work into it. Such a shame because the inside of that cylinder is in really good condition. I don't know what happened. I mean, I see a bunch of fuel varnish and everything else. I mean, it is possible that it just leaked a bunch of fuel into there and varnished everything up and screwed it from there, but it is what it is. But it's kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is. Hopefully I can get a Harbor Freight motor to work on there, much less fit, and do a restore of this thing from there. So let's get you guys a quick start. Fuel's on. Need to have a look at the linkages, but so it's got full choke. Takes off on you. At the very least, it might need a carburetor cleaning. Wash it off anyways. So like I said, at the very least this thing needs a carburetor cleaning, but it runs well enough. And it needs an oil change as well. But like I said, the only reason I bought this thing initially was just because of the motor, and you know, before I even talked to the guy about it, I said if the motor runs fine or seems to, and it's worth it. And I asked him what his price was. He told me 20 bucks. He had his kid start it up for me. And, well, here it is. So, hopefully, depending on what I decide to do with this thing, I might get another bag for it. I know I've got another beauty cover for the engine that'll make that look a little bit better. And maybe with a good cleaning, this thing will look pretty good. But we'll have to see. These plastic parts seem to be okay. This one's still solid and flexible, which is good, so other than cosmetically, it hasn't been damaged too much by the sun. So I figured since this was the same video that I grabbed this in, I would get you guys an update on this. I also picked up one of these from Walmart. Thought it was kind of cool. It's only like 14 bucks. But anyways, so it was just these two screws with the back of the case here, and here we have 3 SATA hard drives. So I'm just going to unplug these, hopefully get them out. There's one, there's 2, number 3 will come out, and just as I thought, it looks like we kind of lucked out on the sizing department. 1 terabyte, 2 terabytes, 3 terabytes. Now granted, they are not solid state. I can't complain with 3 hard drives that I didn't have to pay any money for. I don't even know what a terabyte hard drive is going for right now, but I'm not going to complain with 3 of them. So I'm actually curious to see what else was inside this thing. Let me pull off this processor fan and see what kind of processor it's rocking. So that was simple enough. Now just to if I can remember how to open up one of these. It's been a hot minute since I've messed with any sort of computer. And I might not even have to open it up. It's a Pentium dual core. Core 2 Duo E5200, that's the model number. The board is a PSGC-MX1333, so this thing's a little bit on the old side now. I mean, the COA sticker says Windows XP Home Edition, so you know, I wasn't really expecting anything groundbreaking, but it looks like it's only got a gig of RAM. And this is old DDR2 stuff. PC 5300. So that's that. But, you know, nothing really else is all that groundbreaking here. I might take the fans out of this thing. I probably won't, but I might. My dad has expressed interest in having this first part of this case, and possibly the rest of the case as well, but we'll have to see. He could use it for his ham radio stuff. Unfortunately, this thing doesn't have a key, but I don't think he really cares about that. So, anyways, time to finish pulling this thing apart. I got what I wanted, and you all stay classy.